How y'all doing, folks? Folks tonight. It's folks tonight. Not hey guys. Hey folks. Hey Bud Files, how are you? The one and only person in the chat. There are a few people watching. If you're in chat, say hello. Say hi. We are doing well. I am doing a late night tonight. Hey Sue, how are you? I figured, hey, why not? I'd come in here for a little while. I don't know how long, but I figured I'd come in and I don't know, talk about whatever. Um, just kind of like I guess chatting about the waking to or with Jeremy Crow on Sunday night. If you still haven't watched, watch it. It's great. Jeremy was a wealth of knowledge. Is a wealth of knowledge. I mean, and he shared quite a bit. So check out the full show. It's up there in the archives there. That's The Waking 2 with Jeremy Crow. And here I am. My sinuses are all screwed up again. I don't know what it is. At night, my sinuses get all screwed up. And of course, you hear me going, sorry, guys. Folks. But, anyways, it is brutally cold again. Minus 25 Celsius. Minus 25 Celsius here this evening. And it's not going to get any warmer, at least not for the foreseeable future, at least the rest of the week. We're talking about getting colder for the rest of this week, and then might let me just check. And I'm making funny noises here, sorry guys, folks. Currently it is minus 13, feels like minus 18 with the wind chill, and as I mentioned, the rest of the week pretty much the same. It's going to warm up a little, not much next week, but whatever. It's the winter, and we got to deal with it. So, I, like many of you, hey, Mark One, how are you? I, like many of you, well, some of you, I don't know, all of you, have been, intrigued with this jellyfish UFO thing that filmmaker Jeremy Corbell has brought forward. Now, I find it intriguing. Do I believe it? I like to believe it's true. Could it be staged? Yes. What is it? I don't know. Hey Barry, I've watched it a few times, over and over and over. I've analyzed it, slowed it down, watched it in various color spectrums, including infrared, night vision, all sorts of spectrums, and it's already shot in night vision, high def. In fact, hey Cal. In fact, a lot of hey B, how are you? As I mentioned, if you listen to Corbell sort of explain what was told to him about this thing, and again, I'm not, an expert. I will not claim to be one. I'm just intrigued. I'm intrigued to the point where, you know what, it's gotten my attention because most of the time, a lot of this shit, I just whatever. It's staged. It's whatever. But for some odd reason, this particular footage is intriguing. It is, from what I understand, it's shot at a military scope um, in Iraq, I believe it is, somewhere in Iraq. And if you see, if you've seen the video, I'll show it. It's very cold here, Cal. It's like I said, it's feels like minus 18 Celsius right now, and it's supposed to go as down as much as minus 25. So yeah, it's cold, and it will be cold as I mentioned for the rest of this week. Anyways, I think it's going to warm up a little bit next week, but it's still going to be cold. Deal with it, right? It's like I said, it's the end of the or sorry, it's winter now, and it normally gets like this time of the year. Um, mid to late January, February, it starts to get cold. So, but anyways, going back to the jellyfish, and I don't know jellyfish. I guess it's because um this particular object that was captured, it becomes very translucent and as it moves. And people are going, well, no, it's something on the scope or whatever. No, if you notice, it breaks away from the scope. It, it's never like on par the whole time. You see the scope move, and you see in the background that this particular object break from, like a parallel from the scope. And as it's moving certain parts, it becomes translucent. It becomes black, and then all of a sudden it becomes translucent. And I guess that's where I guess he gets the jellyfish reference to this particular object. I don't know. It's intriguing. Uh, and let me see. I'm trying to find a good footage. Like I know I can find it. It's just let's see. I'll show you if you guys haven't seen it. Bear with me, guys. Here. Okay. I did have it bookmarked, but dumbass me, I got rid of it. Okay. Where are we? Where are we? Okay, let me see. I'm gonna. Oh, no, go back down. Okay. Now I don't know. I'm just gonna. Okay, so here you go. Okay, here's the. It looks. I don't know if it's a full footage, but here you get an idea. Let me just. Okay, let me just sync it up for you guys. If you haven't seen it, I don't know if you guys have seen it or not. I don't know. Let's see. Have you got any of you guys seen this footage? It's like All right. Okay, here we go. Here's the footage. See, it becomes translucent, and as you can see, it's having a hard time locking onto it. it's actually a military scope, and this is the only reason why. This is the only way they were able to capture it in the scope's night vision. So that's it. Would be shit, right? From what I understand, B, it was actually a military scope. Uh, I mean, I don't know. There's actually, it's not the first time that and I hate saying, jellyfish UFO. It's not the first time. In fact, a few years ago in Turkey, I believe. Let me just see. Turkey, there was let's see. Of course, I can't find it now. Oh, I know where I put it. Give me a sec here. I know exactly where I put it, and I'll open it up. And this one is very different. Come on, let me just. This is weird. This one, and again, this was a few years ago in Turkey, captured in Turkey. Let's see. All right, here you go. Again, and this is above like some tall trees. I don't know. I think that's just, let me just. I can't blow it up anymore. I don't think. I think that's this. But yeah, it's kind of got. I guess it's not moving as fast as the one that was just captured in Iraq, but this one, as you can see, is exactly. It's fucking bizarre, you know. But you know what? When I see this, I simply go, "Is it some kind of fucked up, balloon?" Because it's moving awfully slow. Here it is again. It's just moving slow. And is it just one of those, really fucked up balloons, that escape and just float away? You know, I don't know. It's hard to tell. Like the footage has never been good. Like at least this footage, you know. Yeah, floating sheep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Weather balloon. That's what I'm saying. Is it's just one of those fucked up balloons, like you know. But all right, let me just. Where are we? But I mean, it's different from the. You know. Hold on. Fucking get rid of that. Let's get like, it's different. Like this one, I don't think the one that Jeremy Corbell has brought forward is a weather balloon. That one could, yeah, most likely is a weather balloon. The one in Turkey. But like I said, this one, let's see, let's go, you know, the stupid music. But like this one's intriguing. But what this kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of the those classic Japanese anime, fighters, like Guy King. I don't know if there's any drone footage of it. If As far as I know, this footage here is actually a military scope. They capture this, and it's quite weird because I mean, as you can see how it becomes translucent, you know, and then it goes back to solid. It's like it's like the material like transforms itself. It's really really weird. Yeah, Transformers. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, yeah, I know. China's been working on that for a long time. It wouldn't be surprising if other countries were working on it too. But China seems to be, I don't know, a little bit more forthright with it. But that could be just it. It just some companies there. I don't know. I find this intriguing. Whatever it is, it's intriguing. I mean, look at people are walking; they don't even notice this thing. There was a dog earlier, and it didn't even notice this thing. What the one in Turkey? Yeah, this one no. This is something else. This is definitely something else. I mean, is it technology that is being tested? Could possibly be. Is it one of those those fucking flying dudes? I don't know. It's pretty stationary in its movement, other than flying forward. That's what I was thinking too. But there's no heat. There's no heat indicators, Sue. And with those jetpacks, you get a heat indication, especially being shot in military grade night vision. You'll definitely get the heat indicators. Um, no, I don't remember that one. Maybe I do, but I don't know. It's it's like this whole thing in Miami too, like the whole Miami fucking alien shit. 10-foot alien. Like, there's all this footage coming out, and you don't know what to believe. You know, I mean, are they really hiding something? Did something really fucking go down? It's like Las Vegas earlier last year. Same thing. A family calls 911, tells them they have a fucking 10-foot, 12-foot fucking alien in their backyard. And of course, the cops show up, and there's this whole long conversation about it. But there was no no alien found. Is it? Oh, Cal, you're talking about the one in Las Vegas? Okay. But that's what I fucking equate those two. I file them in the same cabinet. You know, they're intriguing stories, and that's it. Honestly. Um, is it real? Probably not. But they're intriguing. I find it all intriguing. Whether I believe it or not, it's a different story. But the Miami Mall thing was, look at, the reason why the cops were there was because there was some stupid ass fucking teen gang in outside the mall or some shit like this, and they were fucking setting off fireworks. So of course, when you set off fireworks, people think fucking gunshots. So you're hearing all these gunshots. Of course, people are going to fucking panic and they call the cops. So when you hear shitloads of gunfire going on, they send in the fucking the military, but it wasn't the military. It was like every fucking cop in fucking, the state of Florida showed up at this mall, right? And people are saying, well, and of course there was the report of a 10-foot alien. Somebody reported that. And, of course, that's going to set off a whole different sort of, okay, how come that's not being reported in the mainstream news, at least at that time? Because seriously, let's be honest here. As fucking stupid as the mainstream media is, they're still not going to waste their time in the beginning, reporting about a 10-foot alien. They really want to know what the fuck's going on. They want the goods because they want the ratings. They want the goods. They're going to spin the fucking story the way they want to spin it, right? And then this, people are complaining, well, why the fuck haven't they been fucking reporting this? Because it wasn't even a factor. You know, are you, are you seriously? Are they going to take that seriously? Probably not. Some guy calls up and says, look, I just saw a 10-foot alien. And now all of a sudden you're seeing all this footage of a supposed alien. And you know what? Don't get me wrong. There's some of the footage is like, wow. But again, are you gonna fucking believe it? I mean, you don't know if the dude is fucking, or whoever's fucking releasing this footage has fucking CGI'd it, as, whatever. You don't know until you analyze the footage, the actual footage. And tracking down and trying to get a hold of the actual footage is a whole different ballgame. Because if you can get a hold of that actual footage, then you can analyze it and say, hey, yeah, this wasn't faked. Joker on stilts. Exactly. I'm surprised there isn't more UAP footage, bearing in mind half the world is exactly B. But at the same time, B, even if we did have this footage, and maybe it's out there, maybe it's there. We're at a point now that I mean, what do we trust as being real? There's so much people can do now with, especially footage, video. Fake whatever they want now. I mean, there's shit you can do to make it look so realistic. Fool a lot of people, and most people go, holy shit. And wouldn't think twice because they think, oh my God, that's that footage is real. And that's the thing. Because these people, they upload the shit to TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and say, look at actual footage. And of course, people fucking buy into it, and there's a frenzy. It starts trending like crazy, and that's all they want. They know it's going to trend because people are going, oh, this is pretty freaky shit. It's real. So then, excuse me, like everything else, they fucking spread it, share it everywhere. Say, look at, man, real footage, real footage, real footage. And it's sad because a majority of the people buy into it. They buy into it. They believe it. Without even doing their own research, they just buy it as what it reads is the truth, or what it says is the truth. That's it. And then when you try to reason with people and tell them, no, this is not real, and you explain to them, you tell them, they won't accept it. It's like anything, uh, especially the paranormal. All these people go, I got proof. I got real ghost footage. I got real real footage of a demon. Now, if I was to tell you I had real footage of a demon, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I want to see that." And then when you present something that looks fucking stupid, where's the demon? And it's just, yeah, clickbait. And but people fall for it, and they literally will, share it. Look at real footage, in hopes that they get the likes. You know, it's like not too long, a couple years ago, we did a show here on YouTube, and I titled it "Putting the Porn Back into the Paranormal," and it went, it blasted, it trended. People are like, "Oh, fucking that porn, what paranormal, what, I got to see this," you know, and that's all it is clickbait, right? Clickbait. People, I thought I was going to see some paranormal porn here, you know. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, B. Um, I do believe that too. Yeah. I mean, some of these signals coming from space, they make you wonder, you know, they make you wonder. I mean, absolutely, Cal. There's too many, way too many now. And I mean, the net makes it so much easier now, right? You know, makes it so much easier. And it's really too bad. It really is. It's really too bad. But, and it makes it harder to really present something that you truly believe could possibly be, an authentic finding. I don't want to say evidence. I don't say evidence, like I've mentioned many times before. I don't think calling it evidence is the right thing to do because we simply don't know. And that's the same with, UFOs. We don't know if it's actually simply just something that, you know, some government or military or private sort of companies are fucking experimenting with and are secret, because there's a lot of that still going on, shitloads of it. There's a lot of technologies that they don't want you to know about, and that people stumble upon, or witness. You know, uh, yeah, absolutely, I agree, Sue. It is time, and yes, disclosure needs to be full. Um, enough of the silly willy crap and saying that, we're not prepared, it'll frighten us bullshit. That's the thing of the past. Like, we're talking about the 40s and 50s here. You know, I mean, I think we're all past that now. I think we all want to know what's going on. I think we're all old to truth, but at the same time, there are people out there that can't handle the truth. Literally their world would fall apart if they found out, especially religious people. I think, you know, their world would be turned upside down. Oh my God, there's actually other fucking intelligence out there, and that we're not the only ones. And who's to say we're really intelligent? You know, who's to say we're intelligent? We're not as intelligent as some of these visitors that come here. Because if we were, we'd be visiting them. you know, Wait a sec, are we? It's Yeah, yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, quite possibly. But I mean, come on. After so many years of dealing with this, I think I think get rid of the slow bowl. Get rid of it. I think it's time. But at the same time, do you really think the governments know? Do you really think the governments know much more than what's being said, much more that what's being put out there already that many of us already know? Do you really think they do? I mean, do you really think governments have had contact with aliens? Do you really think that? I don't know. I think that's hogwash. I you know, I think they don't want to let you down, and that's why. You know, it's like, wait a sec. I thought you were in contact with aliens. Now you're telling me you're not? They don't want to let us down. You know, I just, I think they're just as, I don't want to say lost, but I think they're just as, I don't know. Individuals are too good at shutting people up. Yeah. I don't think they're protecting anybody, Sue, to be honest. They're not protecting us. That's just a false flag right there when they say they're protecting us. Protecting us from what? You know, yeah, the possibilities are endless. Because I want to believe. I do want to believe. I do. I do want to believe, and I do believe there's a greater presence out there in this vast universe of ours. But at the same time, I want to look at the universe in a different sort of fashion. I want to look at it as an extension of your sort of your I don't know how to put it. We're all patched into it. We're all patched into this universe. We're all a part of this universe, obviously, and our place in it, I don't think is fully explained on this plane of existence, if you will. And I think the the dying process, the process of going through death as we know it to be, is is the transition into understanding a greater good, if you will. I do believe, and don't get me wrong. These religions talk about heaven and hell and shit like that. I mean, there must be like a pinch of realism there somewhere. There's a reason why they write that stuff, or it's been written, or it's in our consciousness. There must be a reason. And I think it's been lost through organized religions. The fact that using them as control mechanisms. I Yeah, if you're bad, you're going to hell. If you're good, you're going to heaven. You know, the control mechanism. So they want you to be good. Be a good shepherd, be a good sheep, and you will go to heaven. Right? I think that is just you know how they like to control things. But I do believe there is a purpose for it being there in the first place in our consciousness. And I think that the more and more I think about it, the more and more I say to myself, right now, we're actually in like a sort of a waiting stage when you live your life, this as we know it, this portion of what we're all going through right now, uh, a- as we call it life, is actually purgatory. We're in a waiting stage. We're when we pass away, when we die, when death, our time for death comes, and after is the transition into the realism. Excuse me, the realism. You know, it's the realism. It's what everything's about, or at least a larger portion of learning what everything is about. You know, I think that, and I think it's wrong. I can understand why people fear death, and that's the only reason. The only reason is because we've been filled with all these filters since birth to understand, you know what you have to go to school, you have to get a job, you got to get married, you got to have kids, you got to have this. You're a boy, you got to wear blue. You're a girl, you got to wear pink. Um, you're a boy, you got to wear pants. Fucking girl, you got to wear a dress. Whatever. All these fucking societal fucking filters that we're all fucking just hammered with, you know, once we grow up, and the responsibilities that we're fucking, that are thrown at us, and, everyone, yeah, everyone's an individual, but are you really? You're an individual to a certain extent, but I think we're all a part of one thing. We're all together. We're all together. We're all a part of one thing, and I think, or at least I believe, we become more with that one when we transition after death. I think we learn, what true life is about, if you will, when we die. So I don't think we I don't think we and I just don't think we need to fear death, as scary as it is, and as alone, because I mean, let's face it, we're all alone in it. I mean, each one of us have to face it on our own, you know. But at the same time, think about it. When you're born, you come into the world alone, right? Kind of. You're in it, you're hey, you're by yourself. Yeah, you're in your mother's womb or whatever else, but I mean, you're by yourself. I mean, yeah, you've got there's times when you have twins, and you have all these really cool sort of spiritual and characteristics that sort of jive with each other, and you kind of like, okay, we're together in this. But that's not always the case when they die, right? But I think, like, when we come into this world, we're okay. I'm just reading. Okay, problem is, there's actually, yeah, I hear you, Cal, but I mean, there's actually a neurosurgeon, and I forget his name, who actually died, and for was dead for quite a while, and they revived him. But his story is very, very unique. Very not unique, but very intriguing, because he's able to sort of articulate what is happening, because of his knowledge with being a neurosurgeon. But I gotta find where I don't know where it is. When I find it, I'll play it for you guys. But it's rather intriguing. Uh, Again, people who like his experience was so vivid and so realistic, and the amount of detail that he was able to sort of share with people about his experiences just yeah, it's really phenomenal, Cal. We're actually, Alex and I are tracking the guy down to have him on the show. I don't know, it might be a stretch, but we've done lots of stretches here and getting people on the show. So I mean, I think it's really intriguing. Let me just see here. Let me just see. Uh, Let me just pull it up. It might be.
We are here at Gianni.
I'm just looking for it now, guys. Bear with me here. Here we go.
I heard you had a near-death experience. Mind sharing with us, please?
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share it.
And I've spent the last.
Hmm. Okay, so okay, here you go. Here I'll play a little bit for you guys here. I won't play it all, but uh, okay, so okay. Let me load it up here. All right, share screen. I mean, it's up to you if you want to believe it or not, obviously, but okay, let me just
I heard you had a near-death experience. You mind sharing with us, please?
I would love to share my experience. It's something that happened to me back in November 2008, and I've spent the last 15 plus years trying to make sense of it and coming to a deeper understanding as a scientist. This kind of meningitis is such a perfect model for human death because it deletes the human part of our brain. In fact, there's a medical case report on my medical records that came out September 2018 in the Journal of Nervous and Mental Diseases, which goes a long way to help strengthen my story. It was written by three doctors who were not involved in my care, but were absolutely fascinated by my recovery. And they make two major points in that paper. One is that it was a complete global infection of my brain, that there were no parts of the neocortex left unscathed. Basically, it says my brain could not have had a dream or hallucination. And yet, what I did go through was the most profound, detailed, memorable, life changing, and transformative set of events that I could possibly imagine. And they all happened while my brain was demonstrably offline. So, with that kind of backdrop, I'd like to now share what that experience was all about, why the neuroscientific community pays so much attention to my story. An important feature of my journey was my amnesia, that I went into this NDE without any memory of Earth, humanity, Eben Alexander's life events. It was an empty slate. Now, it all started with what I call an earthworm's eye view, a very primitive, coarse, unresponsive realm, feeling roots or blood vessels all around me. It's like being in dirty jello. It seemed to go for ages, that initial phase. The good news is it didn't last forever. There came a slowly spinning white light that came packaged with a perfect musical melody. It had fine silvery and golden tendrils going off into the edges. And as it was slowly spinning and came towards me, it opened up like a rift. and led up into this brilliant ultra real gateway valley. This is where I would stress for people that might think that a near death experience would be kind of vague and dreamy and murky. This world, this material world, is vague and dreamy and murky compared to that reality. It was sharp and crystal clear and just really beautiful beyond description. I was a speck of awareness on a butterfly wing. There were millions of other butterflies looping and spiraling in vast formations. And we were above this incredibly verdant, fertile meadow surrounded by this lush forest. And the forest and meadows had these waterfalls and the crystal blue pools. There were thousands of beings dancing in this meadow, incredible joy and festivity. And I remember very vividly dogs jumping, children playing, and all this festivity was being fueled above because these swooping orbs of pure kind of oval spiritual beings that when I came back to this world, I called them angelic choirs. And these swooping angelic choirs were emanating chants, anthems, hymns that would just thunder through my awareness. It was a spiritual home that was very welcoming. Now, another thing about that Gateway Valley, I wasn't alone. There was a beautiful young woman. Doesn't get better than that. She had these sparkling blue eyes, high cheekbones, high forehead, broad smile. She never said a word to me. She never had to. Her emotional truth were directly linked to my mind in this kind of mind meld as her message to me, which I think was the core message I was to bring back to this world. You are deeply loved and cherished forever. You have nothing to fear. You were richly cared for, and you can do no wrong. I wish I had explained that last part, you can do no wrong, much better in the book. I was in a realm of such pure love. The most optimal way forward was a way of loving kindness, compassion, mercy, acceptance, when necessary, forgiveness. And that's what I meant by you can do no wrong, because that's what transformed so many near death experiencers to come back to this world far more loving. They come back more spiritual and yet often less religious, because sometimes, unfortunately, religions tend to pit us against each other and pretend that we're not all truly in this together and truly bound together through these forces of love. It turns out that this Gateway Valley was not a final endpoint. It was a stepping stone to something even grander. What happened for me next was those angelic choirs provided yet another portal. And all of that collapsing down to this complex oversphere. At that point, I was in what's called the core. And the core is where all dualities, paradoxes are completely resolved. It's where I came to recognize that my very conscious awareness was sourced in that infinitely loving God force, that we're never separate from that. When I entered that core realm, I was told, you are not here to stay. You'll be going back, but we'll teach you many things. And there were many lessons. And that, of course, is what I've been unraveling and talking.
So, anyways, I mean, that's ultimately up to you to believe or not, you know. Hey, but it's a rather intriguing story, and I mean, it's quite possible, you know, if we're able to get his proper information, to have him on the show. I think it'd be a pretty cool show, to be honest. I find it a fascinating story. Again, a lot of people can chew it up. That's fine. I mean, like anything in life, you know, people will chew things up and say, yeah, okay, I call bullshit. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinions, right? I mean, we still do have those, right? I mean, we're still allowed an opinion, but I find it fascinating, and I do believe that you know from multiple sources, from multiple sort of you know things that I've read on the subject. I do believe, and I do believe that you know when you die, it's not the end. It's the beginning. It's the beginning of what you know experiencing what real life is about. Why because I mean we're here for a limited time in this physical sort of vessel, and that's exactly what it is. It's a meat suit, if you will. Meat suit. I get a kick out of that. But we're literally, it's a physical vessel. That's all it is, right? We are an energy being. We're our essence is energy based, and I do believe that that essence, some will call it a soul, many will call it a soul, whatever, however you want to call it. I do believe once the physical sort of aspect of us dies, we move on. We go to, hey Matt, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. I do believe that we are the true understanding of why we are and what we are, and everything about what we're going through becomes a reality, you know. So I don't believe that, you know, I don't think it's a bad thing that we die. I mean, and again, like, I do understand why people are afraid of it, you know, because you feel, number one, you're leaving loved ones behind, you know, depending on your situation. You're obviously afraid for a significant other, like, you know, husband, wife, whatever. You're afraid, you know, if you know, they're going to be okay, whatever else. You know, kids or grandkids, whatever. I get it. I get it. I mean, that is normal, you know, you know, but at the same time, I don't think we have to fear it. I don't think we need to fear it. I think we have to, you know, the fear part is because a lot of us like to have control, like to be in control of your life, right? I mean, you like to have control. And I think for once in your life, you just have to let that control, let somebody else control that sort of aspect, and just transition, just go. I mean, obviously, if it's your time, then hey, yeah, it's the unknown. Exactly, exactly. It's the unknown. It's like, you know, before we discovered uh fire, you know, we were afraid of the dark because you know, you don't know what's lurking in the dark. But then, you know, when we created fire, and the fire then, you know, this dispelled that fear, or at least dispelled it to the outer rims of the light, because we could see now, we could pierce that darkness. And it's the same with death, you know. uh yeah, oh yeah, Gareth absolutely did, and he did, and him and I chatted for hours about, you know, and this is, again, this is one of the things that we often talked about. We often talked about it, you know. This exact sort of conversation we're having right now is one that I had many times with Gareth, you know. And I think, you know, having that sort of understanding kind of eases the transition, if you will, you know. uh it's unfortunate that we get sick. It's unfortunate that we, you know, have these diseases that, you know, our physical sort of aspect can no longer exist and slowly dissipates. But you never truly, I don't think you ever truly die. Obviously you don't. I mean, our sort of energy, our essence is infinite. It's never dies. I mean, we become a part of something else, you know. We transition into something else. It could have been, yeah. I mean, during the lockdowns, been myself, Gareth, and Alex, and Justin. We all did have these crazy ass fucking conversations, man. They were just so in depth. And yeah, oh yeah, it was yeah, there were some pretty intriguing conversations. Like I said, you can find some of them here on our in our archives with Gareth, and of course on the Mindset YouTube channel. He's got them on there too. Yeah, yeah. And we would get heavily into life, dying, and you know and like I said, I myself have had believed that I like everything I approach. It's I think outside the box. You have to think outside the box, because if you continue to think within the boundaries of that box, you're constantly going to be a slave to the filters that societal uh, constructs have paved your way since birth. And you really need to break those boundaries and think outside that box, those borders, because I say that with everything. When looking at the paranormal, same thing. Most people are stuck inside those, those borders that have been there for years, looking at the great unknown. Because they're sort of trapped by religious influences. And I really think that if you're trapped, you need to break away from that, because you really do, to truly understand and advance uh, this forward. Because I mean, there's a reason why this has all been stagnant for years, because the majority of it has never changed. It's constantly the same. You might have some, you know, technical and electronics, or some sort of improvements, technological improvements over years. But you know what? As long as you keep that sort of those borders, it doesn't matter what you bring forward and how you look at it. It's always going to be the same. It's always going to feed you the same information. It's always going to end up the same way. You know, so to advance, you need to find people who think outside those boxes, outside those boundaries. And there's a lot of people that do. And a lot of those people are shunned because of society, because it's pseudo bullshit, at least in the eyes of authorities, scientific bullshit. Hey, Mark, how are you? Good to see you. And it's a shame, because you know what? When you look at the game of life, and then you look at the game of death, I mean, we're all learning. Even science can't explain to me what's going on. They can theorize. And again, those theories are man-made constructs. So it's fallible. It's not perfect, right? As long as the human factor is there, it's always going to be fallible. I'm not telling you don't You shouldn't believe it, but you know, I don't think they're telling you the whole story. They don't want to. And you look at, somebody said to me, science isn't a religion, but I do believe it is a religion. You know, it's funding. It's from donations. Please donate our fucking peer reviews. Everything's peer reviewed, and the money's got to come from somewhere, right? So usually large donations from corporations and companies that you know you look at COVID, and you look at the pharmaceutical companies that made billions upon billions of dollars on their vaccines. But this is just one of many areas as an example of that. you know but I'm not going to get that, get it into the political sort of arena. I don't like doing that. I'll leave that to somebody else. But it's what I do want to continue on with is the fact that, look at, we are allowed to think freely, at least to this point in time. Still, we're allowed to think freely. We should think freely. And while you have that time, use it to its fullest extent. Don't waste your fucking time on social media and shit like that, and you know believe everything that's there without really diving into, looking into every facet of that, whatever you're looking at. Should I believe it? Is it true or not? I mean, don't automatically, believe it. I mean, you're just as bad as everyone else if you're going to automatically believe what you're being told as being as the truth without questioning it. You need to question everything, everything. Questions are powerful. And who cares if people get sick and tired of you questioning? Who gives a shit? Thank you, Shalmas. Welcome. Jeremy's a great guy, man. I'm very happy to call him a good friend, and always great to have him on the show. Thank you for joining us. This is just an open forum this evening, just sort of on the whim. I just like to come in here every once in a while and get a feel for everybody who's in the chat, and just talk with you guys. These unscripted shows I find are, yeah, I saw that be Disease X. I was watching that, something about that. And again, the World Economic Forum, of course, right? Of course. Are basically talking about another major pandemic and preparing for it. Exactly, Matt, and I'm glad you're here to share it too, buddy. But yeah, the Disease X, another intriguing headline that's come up. Again, I've watched a few things on it, and there's no actual writings in any of the major texts on this supposed Disease X. I think simply Disease X is a referral to a possible, major the preparation for another major pandemic, to be realistic. And you know what that means? That means, okay, well, look at, we need to document everything. We need to be on top of this. We need to map out all these viruses and see if they have the potential. And they've been doing this for years, obviously. But wait a sec, how did they not see COVID coming? Or the what was the Wuhan flu or whatever, and then what was I can't even remember what was it, the actual after the Wuhan flu or whatever it was called. Well, COVID-19 is the short form for, what was it, coronavirus. That's it, coronavirus. I mean, I just actually got over the vid. Just after New Year's, I had the vid, and it was fairly mild. I mean, I was sick for a couple of days, but not extremely sick. Sinuses were kind of fucked up, and cold, coughing. Nothing that a cold or a dry flu. Excuse me. Not a viral flu, but a cold flu. So similar. I mean, I do believe that people who do have compromised immune systems need to watch it. Yeah, but that's like that with any fucking cold or flu. Of course, you need to watch yourself. You know, people who might be born with one kidney, for instance, or somebody who has diabetes and has trouble controlling it. I mean, people, elderly people, people with heart problems and heart disease and all sorts of stuff. I mean, yeah, you got to watch it. I mean, that's a no fucking brainer. There's no conspiracy there. It's just that's the facts. That's the way it is. But at the same time, and I do understand why people are wary about these vaccines, but at the same time, I think people fucking take it a little too fucking far too. Um, uh, Interesting, Seamus. Yeah, do I consider myself a light bringer? I'm not right now. Like I said, I would love to understand that whole concept, and like I said, very educational with Jeremy talking about that last night. I would absolutely love to understand that a lot more. What do I think about it? I think it's amazing. I think it's wonderful. I think it's something that a lot more people should look into and understand, or try to understand and educate themselves with. You know, I think it's very intriguing. Um, but do I consider myself a light bringer? As of right now, I don't think I would have the honor of that, to be honest, right now. When I'm obviously a little bit more knowledge driven with that, yeah, but no, not right now. Hey Matthew, how are you? Yeah, I just started around 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here. I don't know, Matt. Where are you? Whereabouts are you, Matthew? Are you in the UK? Because many of the viewers are in the UK. With the odd one here in North America. You just got off work. You working nice. See, that's what I was. So you're working. I don't know. Actually, I gotta look here. Let me just. Good night, Cal. Take care, buddy. Good to see you. Be well. Let me just look at something here. Actually, I was supposed to look at something. And yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're in Wales. Okay, cool. So hi. Hey, sorry guys, back. So I'm going to end this now. Back Sunday night with a episode 17, or sorry, episodes. Oh wait, let me just see. Where are we? Episode 15. This Sunday night. Yeah, this Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, our regular time slot. We'll be back with episode 15. Until this Sunday night, guys, take care. Thanks for popping in here. Short notice. Figured I'd say hi and just chat for a little bit. Take care, everyone. Have a good one. Later. Good night.